How does gambling addiction affect your loved ones? So my name's Alicia, I'm a gambling addict in recovery. And today I want to chat about how gambling doesn't only impact you, but it impacts everybody around you. And some of the things that your family members, your partners, anybody close to you might be feeling because of what you're doing. I know for many years actually, I didn't, for one, see how my gambling addiction was affecting my family members, purely because I was only focused on me and what I was doing and getting my hit. I wouldn't speak to them. There was absolutely no communication between us. I feel like I never wanted to communicate because I knew that them letting me know how it was affecting them would make me feel bad, and then I'd use that as another excuse to gamble. And I didn't want to accept that I was hurting them, so I just chose to ignore it. But that doesn't mean that they stop hurting, they just carry on hurting in silence. So this is actually really difficult to talk about, but I've got to do it because at the end of the day it's very, very important. If you want to hurt yourself, essentially that's up to you, but it's not fair for your family members to be dragged under and be amongst this mess that they haven't even chosen to get involved in, but they've been pulled in. So the first way that it affects your family members is there's no trust. Trust is absolutely destroyed when gambling because of the lies that we continuously tell. Now, it doesn't just come down to money. Obviously, my family don't trust me with money. Anytime that I'm on my phone, anytime that I'm not in a good mood, there's always that worry, is she gambling? And I know this because my mum has communicated that to me. So for anybody wondering how I know this, I've spent a lot of time over the last few months communicating. We've had very in-depth chats, so that I've chosen to listen to my family's side of things. I've chosen to accept that what I did hurt them, and in doing that I'm able to move forward and not use it as an excuse to gamble, use it as a way to think, I've hurt them, enough's enough. So yeah, trust is a massive one. The second way it affects them is a lot of the time my family members will bail us out. I mean, the amount of money that my mum has given me, thinking that she's paying off debts so that I could be better off. The amount of times I lied to her saying that the money was for debts, but actually it wasn't. It was just to participate in more gambling. At the time she didn't know that, now she knows that, and she carries a lot of guilt, and she questions herself a lot as to if she hadn't have done that, would things have been different? Did I make this worse? And it's really, really horrible to know that your family member is sitting there actually blaming themselves for something that is not their fault at all, but they do. And that's something that over time, it takes a lot of time to try and undo that damage and tell them, it's not your fault, it's not your fault. I must have said it 1,000 times, but essentially if that's what they want to believe, that's what they're going to believe, and that really affects the way that they feel about themselves. The third thing is the constant worrying. My mum, not only is she going to gamble, my mum would worry, but is she going to do something to herself because of this addiction? She could see my mental health deteriorating. Is she going to actually get through this next relapse? What if I come in her room one night and I find her, she never knew what was going to happen, and the night that I last relapsed and I left the house, all of a sudden she genuinely didn't know if she'd see me again. And that breaks my heart. Like the fact that I put my mum through that, and so much more, and other people as well. I think for me, the main person that I've affected with my addiction is my mum, so I talk about her quite a lot. My mum would worry all the time, every time it was coming closer to payday, because she would think, am I going to get her rent this month? If you don't know my situation, I live with my family, but we're all tenants, so we all pay the same amount of rent and the same amount of bills. It's split equally, so if I don't pay my share, my mum's then got to pay for that, and she earns the same amount of money in a month as I do. So how is that fair that she's working all these hours just to pay for my share of the rent? And it would keep her up at night. I wouldn't know this at the time because she wouldn't want to express that to me, because whenever she tried to, I would just shut her down, because again, I didn't want to hear it. I did not want to hear it, because nothing was going to stop me gambling. And you know, I used to hate my family members for trying to share how they felt, because at the time I just thought what about me, what, you know, and it's very, very selfish. But I did, and she'd be scared. She also said to me that she wouldn't want to share how she felt, because she thought that I was just going to shut her down and make her feelings not feel valid. Whereas now, I often will say, you know, how do you feel about it? And my mum opens up now a lot more. We talk very, very openly around gambling. Something that I'm so thankful that we're able to do now. But it takes so much, you know, the financial strain. Again, there's a lot of resentment. You know, it has got better, but it's taken a long time. But there was a lot of resentment for a long time. My mum often thinks about, if she hadn't spent thousands of pounds bailing me out, what would she have been able to do? You know, she would have had more savings. She would have been able to have at least a few holidays with that amount of money. And like I said, there's a lot of resentment from that. And when you resent someone, it's very, very hard to have a relationship. It takes so much time to undo that resentment and actually start building your relationship back up again. I'm really thankful that me and my mum have such a great relationship, but that was destroyed through gambling. And if that can be destroyed, you know, any relationship can be destroyed. But yeah, that's just some of the ways that gambling affects your loved ones, and it's not fair. It's not fair in any way, shape or form to put people through that who didn't ask for it, who didn't place a bet, but they've got caught up in it.